All the juicy Escape from Tarkov gossip seems to happen when I'm at work, but let's talk about what's gone on today in the patch notes for the latest Escape from Tarkov patch. Now, I take it you guys can all read, and therefore I'm not going to go over every single line of the patch notes and discuss it in detail, because that's just a waste of time. The juicy bit of the patch notes was mentioned in the middle between the changes and the fixes, and that was the mention of upcoming microtransactions being entered in the game in nearby updates. And this was something that they promised they would never ever do, but here we are. It's not the first time they've changed on their word, but hey ho, we'll go from here. So for those that weren't aware, the Edge of Darkness edition of Escape from Tarkov was the highest paid edition of Escape from Tarkov, and therefore give you the most rewards, i.e. a bigger stash size, different features, the ability to have free DLCs in the future, all that sort of stuff. And it was limited time only. That limited time was from the time I started playing back in 0.1 all the way until a couple of months ago, so that was about 8 years. But since a couple of months ago, they clearly didn't think through some of the features that were in Edge of Darkness specifically that other people could benefit from. The prime example of this was offline co-op. Being able to play offline's great, but being able to play tactically with a team and maybe do private events and stuff like that just for some LAN gaming, that was a feature that only Edge of Darkness players could do. Ideally, it should be free for everyone. It's offline co-op. Sure, you need to use the server to run it, but come on now. Let's face it, everyone should have access to this, and it shouldn't really be a paid feature. But that is one of the microtransactions coming in the future. You can pay by going onto your profile and selecting that you want access to the offline practice mode with co-op enabled, and that is something that I kind of understand, even though I'm really struggling to wrap my head around why they're doing it in the first place. It's something that I kind of understand because you have to pay for the server costs, and it's extra servers and extra force on the servers if everyone's got access to it. That's okay, right? Even though it's kind of not, because they promised they'd never do microtransactions. And the next one is additional stash space. So the stash space being a feature of Edge of Darkness was always more stash space than the people with the standard edition of the game. But you could go into your hideout and do in-game crafts to improve your hideout space and get more lines that way. But now you can go ahead and go onto your profile in the future and just buy them if you want to. Now, we don't know a price, and that's the big kicker, isn't it? If it's just a couple of quid, sure. For those that don't want to go ahead and do these crafts in the hideout to get the more stash space, because it is quite a pain in the ass to do, they can just pay for it if they wanted to, and that's completely up to them, and it sticks with their account. But we don't know a cost, and that is the big problem. We don't know if it's going to cost $2 per line or $15 per line. It's a bit of a mental one, and it didn't really give much information in the patch notes on what we was actually getting with lines. It didn't say how many we were going to get as a maximum, and that kind of put people off right from the get-go, because people were like, well, people that are streamers can buy tons and tons of lines because they've got streamer money. I get it, but then if you're not on Reddit, you wouldn't know this because the patch notes weren't updated. But Nikita made a follow-up post on Reddit regarding this, and if you don't know, he's on Reddit as Train Fender, so if you ever see that name, you know that's Nikita. But yeah, he made a follow-up post addressing some of the concerns because the patch notes weren't in very much detail, and it basically said that they were introducing microtransactions for two reasons. The first reason we've already covered, and that was they removed the EOD version of the game, and some of the EOD features need to go back, like offline co-op. But again, if it needed to go back, everyone will benefit from it. Just chuck it in, you know? It's up to you whether you want to decide that Escape from Tarkov have already made a shit ton enough money to actually finish their game already, but that's by the by, that's a different topic of conversation entirely. The second reason that he gave was the game has been running for 8 years without any additional flow. That means any additional revenue income from the game other than just people buying the game. And I get that, but you've got Arena as well that just went on sale. I think this is just a really weird time to announce it, and this could just be a translational thing, but then putting it in brackets saying you just buy and play this game forever is a pretty unique situation for a game such as EFT. Well, it wasn't marketed as a live service subscription-based game. It was marketed as just a game that you buy and play. It sounds like he's doing us a favour, but he's not. He's just saying we need more money, and it's been 8 years, so we've done you a favour for keeping this game free and microtransaction free for 8 years, even though they promised that they'd never do microtransactions. I know I keep saying that, but that's the bit that grinds me. They've gone back on promises in the past, and this is one that I thought they never would. And hell, I know I said that it's your own opinion to make on whether BSG have enough money to finish their game this year or not, but just for those that aren't aware, Battlestate Games is a registered company in the UK and not Russia, and therefore we can see their financial reporting. And for last year, they made 1.7 million profit, which was a whole million more profit of what they made the year before. That's Great British pounds, by the way, not dollars, not anything like that. For the conversion rate, for those that are interested, that's 2.183 million US dollars and 199,522,446 Russian rubles. So they're not exactly making a loss as a company, are they? Their full balance sheets are on Companies House if you did want to check that out. As I say, they are a public company and therefore you can access these freely, but you can see some screenshots on screen as well. That's my opinion. I think they've got enough money. I don't think they need microtransactions, but that's by the by. You can let me know what you think down below in the comments. But going back to Nikita's response before I got way off topic about financial situation there, let's talk about the more detail that Nikita gave us for the microtransactions they want to add in the near future. So he expanded more on the stash expansion, and he went on to say that every version is able to buy stash expansion. That includes Edge of Darkness players, and it includes up to 28 additional lines. If you bought all 28 additional lines, that is the same amount as a full standard edition stash on top of your current one, so it's a nice big chunk. Personally, it's not affecting anyone apart from yourself on how much loot you can store. So if you wanted to buy this, not a problem. Buy it. Doesn't really matter. It's, it's your own money. You can do what you want with it, and it can give you more stash space. And if you need more stash space without buying cases, then be my guest. It's all on you. The next one is early clothing unlocks, and that is clothing that we've already got in the game, not additional clothing items that are pay to win or anything like that. It's just the additional clothing, so you wouldn't need to wait to level 37 to buy the puffer jacket or anything like that, and I take it you wouldn't need to kill Killer 100 times to get the tracksuit. I take it you could just buy that early, but that wasn't expanded on too much. It's just early clothing unlocks, which is cosmetic, I suppose. Is that pay to win? Because some clothing does benefit in certain weather situations over others. I wouldn't class it as pay to win. I'd class it as an advantage, but not pay to win. It's a weird one. It seems a bit scummy that people really used clothing items as a status symbol in Escape from Tarkov, like the killer tracksuit or stuff like that, and people can just buy them now. It's a weird one. And then, of course, we've got the ability to play offline co-op. Again, that should be a feature for free, in my opinion. I don't think they need to add it as a microtransaction. I think that's a bit scummy as well. But again, not affecting the actual player base. It's not making it pay to win or anything like that. He does go on to say that there'll be no in-game money, items, weapon, gear packages, or anything like that to be purchased ever. But they said they'd have no microtransactions ever, and they're looking to implement them now, so who knows? I get it, the game needs more revenue streams in the future, especially when the games come out of early access, people are not buying the game so frequently. You're going to need a revenue stream to complete projects and add new features in the future and complete DLCs. But I don't know whether this is the way to do it. It's certainly not the time to announce it with Arena just going on sale and all the issues the game's having with the vacuum cheats and all that. By the way, there's no mention of a fix for that in the patch notes. So I feel like they need to get the priorities in order. Stop thinking about money, Balenciaga and Mustangs. Think about the game and what current state it is before going, we're going to charge you $10 a line to increase your stash space. No, just, think of the hell that players have been through with the cheat epidemic and the shit anti-cheat and all this sort of stuff. The things that people have been moaning about for years. And then go, well, we've fixed all these. Shall we think about increasing our revenue sources? Yes, I think we should. And that should be the way around it. Because I don't think people are opposed to these microtransactions as a whole, because they're not really affecting PvP and gameplay. They're not really affecting anyone but the person that buys it themselves. So they're not bad as far as microtransactions go, but it's a slippery slope when you step on that. And if they use this as is it working? Is people responding perfectly well to this? Are we going to add more in the future? Which they probably are. They're probably using it as a trial basis. And then if people like them and they see a success with the amount of people that buy them, then they'll add more and they'll probably get more and more in-depth and a bit more scummy in the future, because that's how all developers go. Look at Call of Duty, for example. They're my thoughts, a little bit more ranty than I was hoping, but I just went off on one, especially about their finances. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Kind of got this video to 10 minutes. Look at me, good for the mid-roll ads. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.